this party started. Yes. Okay. Excuse me. Welcome back, everybody. Oh, where's my pen? I lost my pen. Hold on. All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Rookzer0 Draw Stream, the art channel of the Drawcast, if you will. I don't know why I'm so animated today. Did not sleep very well. It is too hot here, and that's not very hot compared to the rest of the parts of the world, so I'm going to be a little baby about it today and say that it was hot last night. Yeah. It was like 80 degrees last night in my house. So, not cool. Something like that, yeah. Dippy, welcome. I have Jonas with me today in the chat. We have the Aggie software open. I do, right here. For all of our Patreon members, if you want to come and draw with us today, I might be sketching from here first. And then I'm working on a little bit of a commission. I have an interesting commission because it's a 3-person commission. So I need to draw 3 different people. And the way I'm going to do that is it's slimes, which is also cool. I haven't drawn slimes in a while. So I need to come up with a nice little way to do that because we want to see... Oh, nope. Might have if I had an actual pencil color. There we go. Well, it's all right. Let me start over. Welcome back, everybody, to the Drawcast. I hope your weekend is wonderful. It is July 20th. And, yeah. That's it. That's all I have for the day. It's just today's going to be a doodle day. It's going to be a figuring out day. I finished up the... I'm 90% done with the other commission we worked on Friday. So I'll be sending that out today here in a few hours. I'm going to do some color corrections and some final details on it. I might have that somewhere if I can show that off. Or I might have closed it. No, it's right here. Boom! So that's almost there. I need to adjust the colors and stuff. Right now it's a little too red. And we'll clean it up. But that's our bugbear. And I think he turned out pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. And today we're going to go back to this. And we're just going to go. We're just going to go and we're going to have some fun. But drawing oozes is always a good time, I think. I want a good pose, though. Yeah, it's humanoid oozes. Yeah. I want to get some interesting poses. Because they're kind of, they're bendy. They're a little bendy folk. Because they ain't got no bones. Unless they're just deciding to take the bones with them, right? They don't start with bones. But they can have them. I need to get the chat. Block Prime, welcome. Helbin, welcome. Let's pop this chat out so I can see everybody. I don't have a word for the people that watch the stream besides people. And I always fall back to like the Game Grumps, like saying hello lovelies, because I love Dan. Dan's amazing. But I don't know if if people want me to call them lovelies. I don't know if that's appropriate. I don't know why Dan can get away with it. Probably because he's Danny Sexbang. Like you can't not say no to that. That's perfect. He could call you an idiot and you'd be like, "Yep, that's fine." I don't know if that's true. That is pretty funny. No, yeah, I love Danny. He's great. I think my favorite part about Dan Avidan is somewhere there's a quote that says he's terrified that every day he's getting closer to becoming Danny Sexbang, and I love that about him. And I hope that's a true quote. And if it's not, please tell me. Maybe one day we'll get Dan on here one day. I want to see what he would come up with drawing. Or Ninja Brian. That would be great. I would love to hang out with another someone who didn't follow their college education the correct way. That's a good way to put it. No. I love all those guys. Great inspiration for me. I listen to a lot of NSP while I draw. They've been doing a lot of covers with a lot of really cool bands lately, like Twerp and Super Guitar Bros. I would listen to a lot of those. I've been working on. This is not a slime at all. This is just a dude with a giant pompadour. I don't know what I've done here. Inferno, welcome. I think I might need to start. So there's 3 people here. So I'm gonna have. It's gonna be one with like heavy armor. Apparently this is all the same person. It's just it's the ooze, and it just wears different types of armor and fights differently, which that's a pretty cool idea. I like that. I like the idea. Is there a Pokemon that just wears different types of armor? As this thing? Ah, gotcha. The alien Pokemon. All right. John, welcome. I hope your lunch goes well. And reinstalling tablet drivers is a pain in the butt, but I have done that many a time. Okay. So, figure 1. Probably going to do something a little... Well, do I want to show that off? Apparently the helmet stays. So there's going to be a helmet piece that stays uniform with this, which is cool. I do like me a good helmet. I did a redesign of the Rook helmet over the weekend. Just in my sketchbook. Because I have a man bun now, not a mohawk. And I didn't post it. And I might do that tomorrow or something. I might redraw that digitally. Welcome, Goldtooth. Ooh, I'm liking this idea. Okay, so we are gonna go a spine. I'm gonna get really bendy with the spines because they don't have any structure. But I think that's what we're gonna do. Doing pretty good. Did I hear an ace? Welcome, ace. At some point. Ooh, tattoos for slime. Oh yeah, could a tattoo have slimes? Could tattoos have slimes? Jiminy Christmas. All right. At some point, could we make a design for a slime tamer and all their slimes? That's kind of what I'm doing right now, oddly enough. So on Friday, I was talking about doing a puppet master, which was a dude with basically 5 tiny warforged creatures, players, things, and that was going to be today. But then it switched, and so now it's a slime with 3 different variants, or 2 different variants, or 3 variants of the same slime, I suppose. So you can kind of look at it that way. That would be interesting. But oh yeah, okay. I like this post. Oh, there's a cat at the door. 1 second. Okay, we're back. Tattoos. Talking about slime tattoos. Slimes could have 3D tattoos. That's a good point. Definitely could. Sorry, what was that? That is what they do. Yeah. The Eternal DMs love black puddings. Yeah, the black puddings are a fun encounter. I think maybe as a DM it is more fun than a player. But I think a lot of players lean a little too hard on specific weapons. So. Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, there's definitely slimes in a jar is a really good weapon. I like having I'm a big fan. Did I say jars and slimes again? Oh, okay. I was like, man, I need more water or something. My brain's not working right now. Would not be the first time. I suppose so. Oh, writing magical things with slimes. It's like a hermit crab, but in reverse, I guess. But wouldn't that be okay? Like, what inorganic matter do you have in your body? Yeah, your hip replacement. Haha! I've replaced my body with metal. Oh no, I forgot about my tattoo. And then you just melt away. Oh man. I think it depends, right? Because yeah, some slimes eat. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, that would be great if you just could. Just like writhes around your body. So I'm gonna reiterate that because that was a really cool idea. Is the slime pack? If you have a slime pack warlock, your tattoo is part of the slime, like it tattoos you with itself, and then that tattoo is like alive and kind of like lives on you, slash partially eats you, and gives you sweet powers of like venom, I guess, because you could just pour the slime on people off of your tattoos. That would be really cool. I like this idea. This is a fun idea. Wait, what's the? I guess I don't know what the devotion wizard does when you roll a nat one. What happens with the devotion wizard? Oh, you have like that number, so you can like pre-roll. Is that what you're saying? That's kind of cool. Gotcha. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that idea. That's a fun wizard type. I almost broke the game earlier. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea. I was playing D&D this weekend, and I accidentally started blending Pathfinder rules and D&D rules, and so I'm like, okay, I'm rolling to attack this guy. I'm using my charge and my Eldritch, or I'm not using the charge. I'm using the. No, that's what I did. I tried to charge and use the Eldritch Knight weapon or spellcast, which you can't do because they both take a bonus action. But then I also blended the True Strike that I cast with my Eldritch casting to give me a plus 20 instead of just giving me advantage. And so I'm like, okay, I rolled a 45 to hit this guy, and I do 38 damage. My DM was like, you what? And I was like, yeah, that doesn't sound right. Hold on a second. What did I do here? And I had to like end up backtrack and look at all of my stuff on D&D Beyond. And I was like, okay, nothing I said works. I take it all back. I still ended up doing a lot of damage. And I've got a pretty fun Eldritch Knight build now because I tried to turn him into a Dragoon, which has been a lot of fun. So basically I can like, you can charge forever, jump on people, fly around with a lance. It's super great. Super great. I like that idea. I like the idea of. I mean, that's basically what the slime in a jar is, but with more space because you're using a bag of holding. The logistics behind that are actually. I've thought about this. Ooh, that was really loud. Ah. Thank you, John, for jumping out real quick. That was really loud. I consider using divination for overall. Very cool. I like that idea. Definitely go with it. The logistics of putting a slime in a bag are that slimes slowly degrade if they don't have food. So you would have to keep feeding it, which is fine with the corpses. Great idea. And then, secondly, there's 2 ways to get it out of the bag. One, you stick your arm in and grab it, which is probably not what you want to do. Or 2, you have to flip the bag inside out, which once again, you're sticking your arm in a bag to hopefully not get grabbed by a goo and then pulled into an alternate dimension that literally only has goo in it. Other than that, it's a great idea. I super like it. I think that's why the jar works so much better, because you just huck the jar at something and it breaks. Not to mention, you pull the goo out. There's nothing that says the goo will attack the guy and not your whole party, especially if you've just been feeding it nonstop for months on end. So I really like that idea. I think weaponizing goos and slimes are really fun. But I also like thinking about like what's the best way to do that, because there's a lot of little logistic things with it. Definitely a cool concept though. Mm-hmm. In the words of my favorite kobold, you're dead. I win. Smash. But yeah, no, that's a really cool idea. I think it's great. I really like the green ooze in a jar. Weasel, welcome back, or welcome. I think the reason they chose green ooze for the kobold options is just because they're not terribly difficult, and so like you wouldn't want like a level. How did a level 30 ooze get put in a jar by a level 1/4 kobold? So it's balancing. You could really put any ooze in a jar, I think. So if you have really high level kobolds, definitely give them high level ooze. I really dig this idea. Yeah, I think it's just flavorful. I don't think there's a reason to have just the one. I think you could do anything with it. I did not know that. I did not know that they... Gotta go. Interesting. I really like the... Oops, that's a bad color. I really like the gelatinous cubes, because they always look like Jello, because that's what it was supposed to be. Like, that's kind of the joke. But if you read in the book, especially in Pathfinder, like, they have a super high stealth because they're transparent. And I really like that idea. And I've had a lot of players just accidentally walk into something because they're not paying attention. Kevin the Necromancer is super good now at making sure there's always a skeleton walking about 5 feet in front of him. And then if the skeleton just like slows down all of a sudden, it's like, oh crap. Because I've hit him with that a few times. Classic trap. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they fill any shape. I think they're cubes thematically. I mean, like, there's a lot of backstory to why they're cubes, but like thematically, it makes sense because they're filling a 5-foot space, and that's just an easy way to show that off. But I like the idea that they fill hallways. Like, if you fill up a hallway, it's basically cylinder, gelatinous cylinder. Oh yeah. I would bet they they send them out less than they just exist. I really think I like thinking that oozes and slimes are kind of just. I have so many slugs that live near my house, and they drive me up the wall. And every time I see one, it's just like, ugh, slugs. And I feel like that's how slimes are in the D&D universe. Like maybe people would, instead of having to call insurance companies because they're like, oh no, we have mold. It's like, I've got a small slime that's slowly eating through my grain stores. I'm just gonna have to have somebody pick it up. Exactly. I have a slime. Exactly, yeah. Oh. Slime busters? We call the wizards. Oh man. Slime mustard. We are the mustards. I've just discovered I cannot color correct a layer in this. Maybe this? No. Maybe if I make it a multiply layer. Ooh, that's different. Ooh, here we go. Nope. You don't know. Maybe they're allergic to slime. This is not working. This is not working at all. Yeah, that's better. Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. We'll go with that for right now. Yeah. I think that's kind of their purpose. Not necessarily like it's like the same thing with flies and ants. Like they just clean stuff up. I think that's cool. I think that's a good way to down. Did I do that? Yes. Okay. I think that's a good way to kind of think about what slimes are because I don't think they can really be. I think they can be utilized for traps, and I think they can be utilized for by big bad evil guys. But I think in the most part in the world they just exist as kind of garbage patrol. Especially when you got things the size of like dragons, it's like we need something that's gonna. If a mold started growing on a dragon, it would probably turn into something like a gelatinous cube. I have all the magical power in the world. Kobolds are the best. What? What's that? It's just like a dragon skeleton, but Gurren Lagganing it. That's pretty great. This made me think of yeah, just slime Jaegering. That's a good way to put it. I think that's funny. I'm thinking of one of these like little bunt cake Jello like desserts, but with like dragon pieces sticking out. It's got wings. They do. Yeah, I think Critical Role even dealt with that inside the Happy Fun Ball. Yeah. Yep, do not mock Happy Fun Ball. Yep. I have definitely used that in a campaign. I think that's... I think any good alchemy lab has a jar that is just full of slime for disposal purposes, and then once it's full, you just make another jar, and kind of like it's like yeast. It's like growing yeast. You just split it. Now you have two. I have a green slime starter for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Yeah. Sure. I have a video up. You can check that out if you want. That gives you some tips on how to start that off if you want to play as a slime. Yeah. Feel free to look that up. It is why you should play slimes. I think it might be why you should play oozes, which maybe that's why I'm not getting any views. But because no one's looking for oozes, they're looking for slimes. No, I'm pretty sure it's both. I'm pretty sure I put both on there because my SEO is on point. I hope it's on point. I don't actually know for sure. If you don't know what SEO is, don't worry about it. Yeah, that's legit. Once again, yeah, it'd have to be a pretty small slime. 2, you have to feed them. And 3, you throw an ooze at someone in the middle of a combat, there's no reason that ooze is only going to eat the person you throw it at. Nope. Blap, blap. My favorite other thing... Yeah. You throw an ooze on the ground and the person just kind of walks away from it. It's like, now it's both of our problem. You throw it at them and they catch it and throw it back at you, then yeah. Definitely lots of ways. I don't think it's... Yeah, well, I mean, if you're a monk, you just catch missile. Throw the goo back at them. Hot potato with a slime. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that becoming an issue, because if it does become an issue, it means you're not being creative enough as a DM. I would definitely let my players do stuff like that. I've actually... the slimes, I've said it people before, slimes are not terribly hard to deal with unless you put them in a good situation. And that's the real trick. So there are a lot of times when I'll put a whole bunch of slimes out, and my team is just like, we can just walk around that, though. And it's like, maybe. And it's like, and then they get really scared, and they're like, well, but, okay. It's like, I don't know what to do. It's like, I'm just gonna... I have in the past used them as a, not like, it's a deterrent. It's like, oh yeah, that way is now covered in mold. Like, this kind of mold that you fought before. And they're like, well, we could spend some time just clearing it out because, it's not intelligent, and we have, if we take as much time as we want, we can kind of scoot it out of the way. And it's like, you could do that. And then I look at them like, but I don't want you to. And then if they decide that they want to go that way anyways, that's fine. So it's a, for me, slimes are always a deterrent, but not an impassable thing. So that's always a way of like, oh, this nature's kind of reclaimed this area. Is that something you want to do? It's like, yeah, I do. I want to burn it all. It's like, okay, go ahead and burn it. I'll have to rewrite the campaign, but whatever. I've not used the Tarrasque in any of my campaigns, partially because my players are usually pretty low level. We really like low level campaigns so far. I think level 12 to 14 is the highest I've ever DM'd. So for Tarrasques specifically, I have put kaiju in my games, but not Tarrasques, and I put them in there as something that is not stat blocked, because it's just like, you can't deal with this. Don't worry about it. And I feel like if you put a Tarrasque in a game, it's like, oh, I can fight that. It has stats. And it's like, that's not what I want. So, yeah. kind of like this concept. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. See, that sounds like you're fighting the Tarrasque. I'm not into that. I think that's ridiculous. I think it's totally fine eventually, but I've not set up a campaign to do that. Okay. Yeah, right? Just like Hulk out as a kobold and rip the Tarrasque mouth open. Sure. I mean, the fun thing about fighting a Tarrasque is it's kind of ridiculous to begin with, so you kind of have to be that mythic level insanity, or you're just dead. That's what it's designed for. Yeah. So when you get to a, go ahead. Nope. You go ahead. Yeah, that's kind of what it's going for. The Tarrasque was designed as a non-fight scenario, and I think that made it a challenge for people, especially min-maxers, to like, can I make myself powerful enough to fight a Tarrasque? Absolutely, you can. That is a hyper fantasy game, and those can be really fun. Excuse me, I don't know why my throat's all weird today. Yeah. No, yeah. Most of Goldtooth's games are that hyper fantasy stuff. So that's fine. I'm not saying it's like, oh, if you play a Tarrasque, you're dumb. It's just like, we don't do a lot of that. We like kind of lower fantasy to the high fantasy games we do play. I'm pretty good at balancing and keeping them contained. And so it's just, that's not what we're looking for. Because if it's just like, hey, you want to smash the biggest thing possible, then you fight what you can fight, and then you add 2 to every stat, and you just keep doing that until you die. Like, that's how you do that. Bri, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Very much appreciated. I think that's the original intent. Yeah, Tomb of Horrors has a block, doesn't it? Like a teleportation block. Isn't that the idea? I think that's the idea of Tomb of Horrors, is that you're kind of trapped there. Black Axum, thank you. Welcome. Ethan, welcome. I think they've made some good ones. What would make a... Oh, is that what you're talking about? Video games? Gotcha. You should check out... if anybody has a PlayStation 2, check out Dark Alliance and Dark Alliance 2. Those are both really, really good. They're dungeon crawlers, though. Yep. Yeah, I think Neverwinter, they started kind of falling. I didn't ever play the Neverwinters because I didn't hear they were very great. But yeah, that's the benefit of the benefit of tabletop RPGs is that you're not set by the programming, you're not set by the limitations of the AI. It's always flexible, which is really cool, and I think that's a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly. Right now is a very subjective term. Looks like we got some glowing eyes to add. Okay. I'm confused about that statement, but sure. Yeah, why is what's wrong with Oh, you're talking about Elder Scrolls Online? That's not what I'm thinking about. No. Neverwinter Nights, got it. Okay. Um that's why I was like that's cuz the Elder Scrolls Online game isn't even an Elder Scrolls game. It's just WoW Light with Elder Scrolls skin. And I was like, yeah, that's not D&D based at all. What are you talking about? Interesting. See, I did not enjoy it at all. But either way, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's all semantics. I think the Neverwinter games, yeah, they didn't. The weird thing about D&D on a virtual platform is, everybody takes different parts of Dungeons and Dragons to their own, and they make it their own, and very few of those are a video game style playthrough. So some of my friends are very much into just dungeon diving. And so when we play something like Diablo or Dark Alliance, like I can make a D&D game that matches that experience very similarly. But there's no RP in those. It's literally just like you walk up to a guy, he tells you to get this box, and you're like, okay, and you go do it. Like that's it. That's how that game would work. No RP period. So most people that want RP have to play something like Knights of the Old Republic or yeah, so that's a good game, and that's what people that like RP want because it's lots of options, lots of talking, lots of story, lots of lore. And I would argue that the fighting in that one's pretty good. I think KOTOR is probably one of the closer concepts to a real RPG, tabletop RPG type style. But Star Wars based, like why not make that type of game for D&D? And I think Pillars does something close, which is not too bad. Kingsmaker, close. But it's not gonna match that because you can't actively adapt to what each player wants in a D&D game into it would be a different video game every single time, and you wouldn't be able to do that. It'd be really hard. Maybe it's possible sometime, but yeah, and I think part of that is because you're not playing things as intended. Like you like find I could be wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think you like finding unique ways to use spells and kind of unique combinations of spells, and that is something that is really hard to program. Uh, Sorry, I'm talking to someone about this picture. You got 30 seconds. Go. Funny DM story. Hit me. I'm gonna do push-ups while you're talking. Oh. You've lost privileges. See, that's a good story when the DM kind of has to retake control. It's like, no, that's not happening here. Okay. No, you're good. Alrighty. I think this is a good base for this character. Now I have to figure out how to give him armor, which I actually have a really cool idea for that, but I think I want to redraw it all. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I remember that in the original Baldur's Gate game. The first kind of cursed item you roll up on is a ring of sex change. And, like, you find it and you put it on, and it doesn't actually do anything stat-wise, but it just switches the gender appearance of your character. So if you have a male portrait, it just switches to the female portrait, and you're like, okay, that's weird. And then you try to take the ring off, and you're like, oh, it's stuck on. And so really all it does is steal your slot, your ring slot, and it's like, that sucks. But that's a fun cursed item to have. What is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, you make it with an emoji? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Still, yeah, that's a cool way to do it. I like finding little art programs you can use to kind of make up stuff. Lightning bolt, lightning bolt. I don't like these shoulder pads. Oh man, I think lightning bolt is an amazing spell. The trick is just finding those opportunities where there's a bunch of people lined up. We were talking about that the other day. Of my friend is starting to DM, and he's never really DM'd before, and so I gave him like the Dungeon Master's Guide, and he was like, "This is stupid. Skeletons don't have all these different resistances and stuff." And by the way, this is the Necromancer, Kevin the Necromancer, and I was like, "Well, a lot of the spells in 5e, the resistances are on the spells. Like this does bonus damage to undead, or this does less damage to undead," and his argument eventually fell to, why doesn't lightning just spread all over the place? And I started looking it up, and someone had made why doesn't lightning do more damage to people standing in water? And from a video game standpoint, that's what happens all the time, right? Everyone's used to that. But in a fictional standpoint, through the way the spell is designed in the books, it's not actually electricity. It is just a bolt of lightning that is forcefully pushing its way through stuff in a straight line. So you could thematically do that. And that's the thing. Like, you can change the rules on the fly. And that's why D&D is kind of cooler than video games, because you have direct access to change all the rules, all the programming at any point in time. So, yeah, I hear a lot of people like, why can't I do this in D&D? And my response is almost always, you totally can. Let's look at why or why not you should. Like that's the really way you should look at D&D is, can I do something? Yes. Should you do something? Maybe not. Let's find out. Right. Yeah. I can see an argument for kind of like the same thing with explosive barrels in video games. Like if you see an explosive barrel or a barrel, it will probably explode if you shoot it. If you see a giant pool of water, touch it with electricity and everyone inside of it should die. Like that's a video game physics thing that has some reality or some truth in reality. Like, but it's not always the case. It's very dangerous to be standing in a wet surface when there's live electricity about, but standing in a puddle doesn't make you more likely to be hit by lightning. I don't think. So right. And so that's the thing. It's like, well, in a fantasy game, you're not dropping a car battery in the puddle. You're summoning magical lightning from your fingertip. Like, where's the... Yeah, and I think that's generally how I would argue it. Like, if you shoot lightning into people that are all like waist deep in water, it's like, oh man, if you hit that guy, the two people that are standing next to him are going to take half damage. I think that's fair. I'll do that. I think that's great. That's how I usually rule stuff. Is like what's your intent, and then I get to choose the effect, and I think that's a great way to to do D&D. Hey Rook, would you say your favorite use of the idea of... I don't know how D&D works. Darken, thank you. Keep watching. It's great. Sorry, say that one more time, Goldtooth. Oof. That's so loud. Yeah, that's a way to do it. I think that's fair. You can give them an advantage or disadvantage based on their environmental surroundings. I think that's how. Oh shoot, what's the game? Divinity works. Divinity's not bad. If you want a D&D inspired game, Divinity's a nice way to go. But it doesn't have a lot of like super unique character customization. It's kind of like you get a character, you level it up, you go. So those are some options too. Once again, it's not actually lightning. It's a magical laser beam of death. Yep. Yep. Yeah, lightning is super random. Block Prime asks, "Hey Rook, would you say your favorite use? What would you say your favorite use or idea to surpass a task using a spell conjure animals? It's my favorite spell, and I want ideas for using it." That's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know if I have a specific use that I fall back to that all the time. D&D is fun, but hard to set up. Yeah, accent, I definitely think that's... D&D can be a troublesome thing to set up. I have had a friend of mine, back in the day, this is when we were playing Pathfinder a lot, always had Summon Steed, I think is what it's called. You can summon like 4 to 8 horses. And he would always use it to check for traps, and it drove me bananas, because he's like, I summon magical horses that don't really exist, and he would like lock eyes with everybody in the party. Like, these are fake creatures, summoned from my will. And then he would have them walk down a hallway. And it's like, oh, man, that's so messed up. And then if they set off a trap, they just poof out of existence. I'm like, okay. This isn't animal cruelty. We'll let this slide for now. And he kept doing that. And it worked. Spectral Mount. It might be Spectral Mount. And then at one point, I had set up this... I wanted these guys to be running and gunning. So, like, you are now being chased. Like, there are these terrible things. And you're being surrounded by these roper vines or something, deadly vines. I don't remember exactly what they're called, but they're basically just vines that grab and kill you. And so the first turn, he wins initiative. I summon 4 spectral horses. We ride away, and they run. And I'm like, okay, great. These things can only move 5 feet around. you just run away from them. Thumbs up. I don't have anything else planned for this campaign. like that kind of stuff is really funny, and I think it's great. But I don't have a specific use. I think it's a very powerful spell. What I generally do is I will tell my players, if you want to use animal companions a lot, or not animal companions, but summon animals or summon creatures, basically sit down and print out sheets of what you want to summon. So that way, when you do want to do that, like I summon 8 badgers, not everyone has to stop what they're doing, so you can go look up the badger stat. So kind of in the back of your mind think, what would I summon? What's something close to something I would summon? And then that way you can be like, I'm going to summon a giant owl, but I only have the stats for the giant eagle. Is that okay? I'm going to swap out whatever this is for night vision. Because I think owls would be able to see better at night or something. Whatever, doesn't matter. That's how you make that spell good. That's the thing that I would always suggest if you love using summon animal. Have your own codex of animal stats so you can just whip them out and be like, I'm a giant gorilla now, or I turn into a whale, and people are like, cool. And you already know exactly what you're going to do. So constrictor, snake, pig, direwolf are all my favorites. So yeah, those are good. I would grab all 3 of those and just have those behind your character sheet ready to go. And that way it's like, I turn into a direwolf and I'm going to attack. And here I already know all my stats. So I did that for Jump Rope when she became a dinosaur druid. I think that's the way to say it. Druid that could shape change into dinosaurs, which was really, really cool. And that was really easy because at the time, there were only like 8 or 9 different dinosaurs in existence that had stat blocks. So I just gave those to her and I was like, there we go. And now whenever you want to turn into one of these are your options and you have them. And it cost me 8 pages of printing, which I think is totally fair for the 5 or 6 times we played those characters. So definitely worth doing if you have a printer. If not, save them on your iPad or something, or your phone, or wherever. Put them in a Google Drive and just pull them up when you need to. Cool. Thanks, Block. Yeah, if you only ever summon 1 or 2 things, which works thematically, I feel, it's pretty easy to do that kind of stuff. So, 8 direwolves. I mean, yeah, it's so weird playing with higher level characters. Yep, hyper fantasy. But once again, like when I play hyper fantasy stuff, like I never use stat blocks for my players. I thematically find creatures that work, and then I have to basically build out all the characters myself. Or I have a lot of really cool books for Pathfinder, like let me see what it's called. The Monster Codex is really cool, and the NPC Codex basically has plethora of types of creatures per race. So you can have there's a whole chapter of orcs, and it's got orcs from level 1 to level 20, and then goblins level 1 to level 20. And so you can just grab one of those and then skin it differently to say okay, I'm going to use the stat block here from this level 18 orc, and I'm going to turn him into a wizard. I'm just going to use the wizards that from the level 17 wizard, or the wizard from the level 18 human wizard that exists. I like that guy better. And so those books are really easy to just quickly come up with scenarios if people get uppity. And that's why my shopkeeps tend to live longer than most, because if someone throws a punch at a shopkeep, it's like, okay, let me get the book. Hold on. And then I have the stats ready to go. Dinosaur Druid sounds cool and pretty nightmare fuel for the enemies. Yeah, Draken. Dinosaur Druids are really, really fun. I highly suggest them. Anybody that tells me that orcs can't become wizards, I don't what? Yeah, why would you think orcs can't become wizards? That actually would be really funny. I have definitely played a Stir Wizard Orc before, so where you cast sword and fist all the time. So I get where you're coming from, but thematically, I'm totally fine with orc wizards. I think they're great. Let's play a game. Orc 162. Orc Mystic. That's pretty good. Orc Prodigy. Orc Witch Doctor. Cleric. Fighter. I might not have a wizard in here. That's interesting. Bard. Witch. Witch is pretty close, but not wizard. Well, boo. Boo on that. I've looked that up. I would definitely. I have no qualms with an orc wizard. I'm surprised I don't have one in the book. Considering I have a vengeance paladin, I guess that kind of makes sense. That is kind of something interesting that I've just discovered with playing a little bit of WoW Classic. The orcs only have their racial bonuses for melee, and it's like then every mage class just doesn't benefit from that at all. So that's kind of interesting. I really like finding kind of cool class combinations, but maybe the orcs are set up that way, which is kind of a bummer because I would love to see some like orc specific magic. I've had a few players play support orcs where they have enough levels of wizards to get like enlarge person and some of the other magical buffs, like flame weapons and stuff, and then just focus on strength after that so that they can just beat the crap out of stuff, which I love. I love that kind of stuff. The mace arm slimes look so buff. Nice, Jonas. Yeah. We have Mr. Jonas drawing with us today. Over here on the side. Yeah, I could see that. I think once again martial prowess is I think the min-maxy people that play wizards are like, oh, I can't use a weapon. It's like, you can stab a guy. Like, it's fine. I have no problem with this. But like, yeah, I think Gandalf. So what is maybe this is a good question. Is the negative for using a weapon you're not proficient in just disadvantage on attacks in D&D? I have to look that up. Then what's the point of the proficiency? Oh, you add your proficiency bonus. Oh, the possibilities. Yeah, and if you're a wizard, your proficiency sucks anyways. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm actually I like that. I like that about multi-classing. And I think multi-classing should definitely be a thematic thing. When people want to multi-class, I basically make them justify it, and that to me is really how role-playing should work. So I will generally tell people, if you want to do something like that, like you want to be a wizard that can use weapons and armor, start as a fighter. And then start dabbling in the arcane arts, because then you're slowly learning it. But it makes sense that you've spent your life training as a fighter, versus, or do it the other way, start as a long story wizard and then saying that you're now devoting your life to fighting. But when you just dip 1 point at like level 9 for no reason, it bothers me. Like, I think it should be a very early on choice that you should do. I'm totally fine with all the things you just said. I love it. I love it so much. Like, that's, if I have definitely played with people that want to min-max so hard that their characters are invincible. And I don't have a problem with that unless they're the only one doing it. And when they do that, I remove them from the game. It's like, listen, if you want to be this super high-powered, God mode character, but none of the rest of the party does, then we need to make a campaign for you to do that. And that's legit. And then that's how I solve those issues. And so, Sierra, welcome. Thank you. My last game was an illusion-based warlock melee fighter. I like that. Illusion-based warlock fighters. Right. And that's... All right, you're getting defensive about it, a little bit heated. Right. That's my issue with. Correct. Yeah, there's basically arcane. All wizards start with the ability to read arcane, read magic. Like, that's how they function. So whenever someone takes a level in wizard later in life, I'm gonna say life of the character, that's generally how I rationalize it. It's like, okay, you've been studying for a long while now, and you're proficient enough that you think you can start using these in combat. Like, I'm totally fine with people, like, if you have a fighter that has a high enough intelligence, or maybe they took a few points in spellcraft, like, taking points in spellcraft, this is Pathfinder, sorry, taking points in spellcraft, that means that you've spent time learning that stuff. And I'm okay with that kind of transition. But I like it when it happens earlier, because really a big chunk of backstory can be, I've trained as a fighter my whole life, and I've dabbled in magic, and I have a spell book that my grandfather gave me, but I don't really know how to use it. I'm going to spend the next 5 levels adventuring and trying to figure out how I can blend these two worlds. And so maybe your first level isn't fighter because you're fully trained in it, and your next level is this spell book. Or, I think I can start using this one spell. I'm totally fine with people outside of combat doing things that aren't in their class. Like finding a spell book and like, I want to read this. I want to learn some things. I want to try to use this spell. And I'm like, well, you're not proficient in it. You're going to need somebody that can read it. And you're going to need to spend like 5 days setting up the ritual to do that spell. And I think that's great. I'm really on board with that kind of stuff. That armor makes you think of a possessed armor. So that's bad storytelling is what that is. Yeah. takes a year. Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, because if you're playing it, like a video game, Ace, I think you're absolutely right. If you're playing it like a video game, whereas it's just like, oh, I dinged, I choose this thing, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I've had that issue in the past where people are, well, like, oh, I leveled up, I put 3 points in languages, so I learned 3 languages instantaneously. And when you say it like that, and the way the video games work, where it's either on or off, or you have this or you don't, it doesn't make any sense at all. And so that's why I'm saying with multiclassing, it always has to be something that they have to tell me why. And if that is, or like with languages, I've learned this language. It's like, great, you know, up to now, you've been kind of piecing together the things that you've been looking at, and you've been trying to read Dwarven, and you've been able to pick some of the words apart, but now you've finally come into a comprehension of it. Like, you're finally starting to get it. And that makes it make more sense. And usually when someone wants to multi-class something, I will write that into the story. I have them tell me, I think I'm going to do this class in a level or two. I'll set it up in the game to where my gunslinger, and this is one of my players, died. And I said, okay, I think this is a great opportunity as you're being revived to take a level in cleric or a level in, oh no, what's it called? What's the battle cleric thing? War priest. And he was like, yeah, that would be really cool, and that'll shift my character into where I want to take it. And that's the way I look at it. I either let them keep leveling, and then they have to rationalize the thing to me, or they have to build up to it, and then I will let them switch levels around. Like, if they're level 10, I will let them say, okay, you're going to take a month to stay at this thing. We're going to take away your level 10 thing in fighter, and you're going to gain a level in this because you are spending time and effort to do it. And then you can get those other levels back later. So I think the issue that you're having is really when people are just looking for the stat and don't care about why. And that might just be their type of game, and that's fine. Like, but if you don't enjoy it, you know, that's the wrong kind of game for you. Yeah, I don't think it's anything you did wrong. I'm just like, I think that's where your frustration is coming from, is the not explanation of it, because it doesn't make sense. So yeah. Yep, and that's a forward thinking way of doing it, where you basically have nothing and have to then learn it, and that's definitely one option. There's even some rules in Pathfinder. You can have they have a chart for that if you want to unlearn a level or unlearn a skill. It requires, exactly like you said, requires a master of someone that knows what you're learning. It requires a certain amount of time based on the level that it is. So if you're learning a level 20 versus a level 1 level, it takes different amounts of time, and gold. It just takes gold because you're spending time and effort making it work. So yeah. But yeah, I think multi-classing isn't. I totally, I have no problem with multi-classing. Blood Hunter's a good potion. Blood Hunter has a potion. Take Blood Hunter potion. Yeah. Yep. It might just be that. Yep. You say that. You say that with your dire wolves that kill everything without anybody helping. I think you're all pretty min-maxed. Yeah. I've had the support kobold that is the max DPS. Yeah. I've had sorry. Yep. High fantasy. I play a lot of games where I don't allow healers in my games, which are fun. Yep. Yeah, we ran into this I talked to my players about what they were doing, and they ran into this dungeon and they started going crazy, and they're like, all right, I need healing. And then Jump Rope's like, I don't have any heal spells. And they're like, what? You're a cleric? It's like, I don't have any heal spells. It's like, exactly, you all assumed, and now you're all gonna die. And I came up with some pretty cool ways to make it viable for them to do that. But it's if you go into it thinking that the game is going to be a video game with very specific roles, it changes how you play your character and how you build your character. So I'm a big fan of really just messing stuff up. Like, I think it's a lot of fun to have like a whole melee party, and then because as the DM you have total control over what they fight, so they're not going to run into like, oh, 45 guys on griffins are all shooting arrows at you. It's like, I guess we die then. Like, great, that's not fun. And that goes back to I'm not a DM that is against the players. I'm a DM with the players. If it's not fun for them, then it's not worth playing. So it's definitely really, really important that you figure out what kind of game you want to play, what everybody wants to play, and what you can do with it. I'm a big fan of reusable potions, going with a Dark Souls style, like Estus flasks, because my players like that video game feel. And so I'll give them, like, here's a potion that you can use once a day. And it's like, oh, cool. Okay. And then they're worried less about, oh, why don't you have heals today? And that person can really do whatever they want. And that's where I think really cool support builds happen when you do that, because they're less worried about making sure they have this will save the party, and more like, what can I do with this spell and this spell? Like, this might be a cool combination, because everyone's kind of taking care of themselves a little bit, and then they still have those big heals if they need it. And I think I love that so much. So yep. That's always that's that's always the problem. We have Lars has been playing his we've been playing his campaign, and this is the first time he's been dungeon mastering. And my character is built straight for combat because I wanted to do that. That's what I wanted. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And so, like, whenever it gets to, like, really deep into RP, my character's just like, I'm quiet, not gonna say nothing. And it's gotten weird sometimes. Because, yeah, exactly. Like, Yep, because I was like, I'm the DM. I talk all the time. I wanna just fall back and do nothing. But then apparently, I think Lars is a good mouthpiece for the party when we play my game. And now everyone expected me to be the mouth for the party, and I don't want to do it. And so it's this weird dichotomy of like, I don't want to say anything, but no one else is saying anything. I guess I'll say something. My character shouldn't be talking. And I kind of get more about Beauregard for Critical Role now. And I feel that every now and again. It's like, I don't want to be talking. I'm just going to punch this guy in the face. And everyone's like, why would you do that? I'm like, because my character is mad at this guy. Like, let's see what happens. And Lars has been struggling with it. And it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun learning that. That's how D&D works. That's how D&D works. You just gotta figure out what people want to play and play it, and that's the fun part. I did punch Gundren Rockseeker in the face, and then beat him with my helmet for a while. So I don't know. No one was expecting that, and I was like, well, he had it coming. Yeah, right. So it was good. What the actual F is going on here? Ah, that's 5 push-ups. I put. Oh, no. It's because the original was. Not push-ups. It's because I did the multiply layer when it used to be red and I made it black. That's why. Woo! I think I just deleted that whole thing. There we go. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't think there's anything to tell. I think that's a good story. I think we talked about some good stuff. Definitely play what you want to play and make sure everyone's okay with it. If you've never played with a Cavalier in Pathfinder or a Summoner, yeah, that's how you break a game real fast. It's like, I get on my horse and I do 350 damage to the boss. It's like, we're level 2. He's like, that's fine. It's like, what? What just happened? Like, you blow the dragon in half. He's just right down the middle, straight, just chopped it in half, Gurren Lagann style. And the campaign is over. You win, and you are now the king of the country. Yeah. So Pathfinder Summoner is hyper focused on either summoning one big creature or lots of little creatures, a lot like the Druid is, but it uses more arcane focuses. So I think it's a lot more it gets banned a lot, partially because of so many things can be summoned and the ability of stacking stats on your character, which once again isn't bad if you expect it. If you don't expect it, all of a sudden you jump into the game with a level 1 wizard who is just about to die, and then they have 24 in all of their stats. And it's like, wait a minute. And it's not meant for, will you go kill the rats downstairs? It's very much meant for, you're a Power Ranger, save the universe. That's how it was designed, and I love it. I think it's great. The Eidolon system is really cool. I wonder if I can do this. Jonas, I'm going to break something real quick. What the hell's going on? Do it. Do it. Interesting. You cannot... why can't I draw on this layer? This is real strange. Ew. Apparently Aggie is just broken now. Did I lock it? Aha! Haha! No, that's... Yes. Thank you. Thank you. That was like nothing I'm doing is doing anything. God bless Jonas right there. Okay. Okay, and now I want to make this a... Oh, I can't make a clipping layer? Is that what this is? Toggle layer? Clipping, yes. Yes. Okay, so that's that. And then I want to drop the opacity on this down. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, if you want to do a summoner class, wizard's good. Same thing. That's kind of the argument. If you want to make a necromancer, you go wizard or cleric. Yes, you can do both. Like there's definitely ways to do it for both. With the summoner class, I think if you want to have some really cool, trying to think of examples, Pokemon trainer, summoner class. If you want to do something like the Golden Compass, which is a little weird, you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Yeah, the Eidolon system is really, really fun because it basically it's pretty close to the Artificer. I think the Artificer is kind of where they were going with that, because you basically take time, money, and level points to build yourself a robot suit out of magical fey particles. Yeah, this is really, really cool. The Eidolon system is basically how you could do Iron Man, you could do Power Rangers, you could do magical princesses. I think it's very similar, and I think you could definitely make an argument to use that as a base for your Artificer if you wanted to do any of those things, because it is adding a complexity to the game that can break, and that's really the problem, is adding complexities to a system like Pathfinder or 3.5 allowed for a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Abuse, I guess. People just abuse the system to really, really min-max with that. And yeah, it's definitely something fun you can do sometime, but it's not fun if you make, oh, I have a level 1 bard, and then you have your Eidolon wielding super demon, and you're like, can I give you a +1 morale bonus? It's like, I don't need it. I already got +8 to everything. It's like, okay, so cool. You go fight that dragon. I will seduce this pile of gold, I guess, and that's what you do. So yeah, I mean, once again, games just, you need to be ready. You need to know what you're doing with your game, and that's really, I think, where a lot of people fall short. Is they don't. The DM's kind of like, this is my story and this is what's going to happen, and then they don't take the players into account, and it's like, probably should have thought about that. Like, let the players write your story for you. I think that's the best advice I can give you. Yeah. I had really hoped in the Patreon game that people would try yelling at the Minotaur, because then they would have been murdered by spiders. But we didn't get to see that. Missing out on the fight, or the... Yeah, it could have been a fun fight. It could have killed everybody. But, yeah, they did the smart thing. I hope people are kind of getting what's going on, because there's a little bit of subtext happening, and I didn't want to put a lot of lore down and just be like, here's exactly what's going on. But I hope I came up with a situation that will later lead to something that will be fun. So, yeah, I want to show it and not tell it. And so the Minotaur statue was fun, but This one needs a bow, and this one will be super bulky. Bulky armor. Gotta take notes. Oh, I've made Lars go crazy because I cannot remember character names, and if you've noticed when we play, I forget the name of my own NPCs. And I'll write down notes, but I'll write them down poorly, and then I'll try to read them later and be like, I don't know this character's name. I think it's like Handbag. I think this guy's name is Handbag. we're gonna go with that. Yeah, exactly. I have been out of the YouTube chat for a while because I got so involved in this drawing. So let me look at this real quick. Deep sea slimes. I like that idea. I prefer shepherd druid. That's really cool. Block. Previously discussed with conjure animals. Yeah. Power Rangers. Yeah, you can definitely make a Power Ranger Pathfinder. Super fun. I don't play D&D. I'm very confused. You don't worry about it. If you ever want to play D&D or you want to play a tabletop Power Rangers game, that's doable. Hey, Rookzer0, love your drawings and videos. You gave me great inspiration for my own characters. Luke, that's awesome. If you want to share those with the Patreon, or the Discord, you're very welcome to join the Discord and post that in the art channel. That would be awesome. I'd love to see more art. Basically, anything can be made in D&D as long as it's incorporated properly. Yeah, and that's really the trick block is just trying to figure out what goes where. And especially talking with Kevin as he's building his own world, what I've suggested for him is to try not to reinvent everything. Try to find what exists first, and then augment if needed. Because a lot of people jump into D&D and just want to make a brand new campaign that's everything new to them, and it's like, there's a spell for that already. Like just use that spell, or reskin it, or change it slightly. Because the more you can get away with changing slightly, you're less likely to break things. Versus just like, oh, I'm going to have a gun that shoots 45 fireballs every time you pull the trigger. It'll be super cool. It's like nothing else in the game does that. Maybe don't do that. Well, not the greatest artist, but I'm learning a lot. That's good. That's good to hear, Luke. I definitely hope, I would definitely like to see your art. They got rid of Summoners because they don't like Power Rangers or Voltron. Wait, who shouldn't cast spells? Oh. Yeah, I think the other things people I've heard... Okay, Ace, what you said was absolutely right. We're talking about casting spells through your familiar. The familiar has a really cool ability to deliver touch spells, which I think is really fun. So, Shocking Grasp, your familiar comes up and zaps somebody. Shooting a fireball from your familiar is not in the book. I might allow it depending on what you're doing, and it also depends on how you're building the character. And that, once again, is very much that's adding potential to a character. So can a wizard cast a lightning bolt from anywhere at any time? That sounds a little OP. How can we balance it? This is really what I would talk to the player about. Maybe it costs a higher spell level, or maybe it takes like your entire turn to do. I think there's ways around it, but for the most part, I don't have a problem with casting the wizard spells with the familiar, because the familiar is an extension of them. What I do have a problem with is people trying to argue that their familiars should have class levels, and that is a no-no. That is definitely a no-no. Same thing with animal companions. If you give, and 3.5 was really bad about this, because you could have a tiger companion that had enough player levels to have their own companion, and tigers all the way down. That's how that works. You just get a tiger that can have a tiger that can have a tiger that can have a tiger, and you win forever. So that's what I was saying. 8 direwolves sounds bananas, and then it's like, oh right, you're level 20. That makes total sense. Once you're above level 10, you are basically a god. There should not be many other people that are that level. So definitely fighting good stuff. Yeah, I don't think that is on by the book. Let's check. Let's look it up. Now, if their demon can cast Burning Hands, once again, that sounds like it has demon levels, which means it's not a familiar. If he summons a demon, I'm totally cool with it, because that's probably like a level 7 spell. Yeah, that's cool. I dig that. Level 5 Pact of the Chain. That's cool. I actually really like that idea. Having a little magical imp with you all the time. Looks like it's got Vampiric Touch, Invisibility. It can shape change a little bit. Doesn't get extra hit points. That's really cool. I like that. I like that Pact of the Chain. That's a cool idea. The restriction for the quote says that you can only cast touch ranged spells through your familiar. Self would be included in touch. Are we talking about pseudo dragons? What time is it? I think we're getting close. Familiars. Yeah, familiars are weird because they are definitely familiars and not what they are. Does that make sense? Like with animal companions, you have a bear. But with familiars, they are basically fey representations of things. And they should, I don't know about 5e, I'm going to have to look this up. But with Pathfinder and 3.5, they had their own leveling system. And I really dig that. I really dig that selection because then they do get feats and stuff. But oh, that's hella cool, Jonas. Right. And so if it takes the shape of an animal, like, oh, it takes the shape of a dragon, it probably doesn't have a breath weapon unless it's really powerful. And that's the thing I think that people forget about. And so, like, if you are a warlock and you summon a big demon, that demon has power. Much like if you beast shape change into something, you have the power of that creature. But if you have a familiar that looks like a big demon, it might not have the same powers because it is not that demon. It's really nuanced, and to be totally fair, I might allow some of it depending on what they're doing. But yeah, I wouldn't allow a lot of shenanigans because I know it's just cheesing the game. So yeah. Yeah, most Fey things, I always say if something is Fey in nature, it generally has, like, you can tell. You can tell it's not quite there. The ears are slightly wrong or the eyes are too big. Oh, that's the wrong glare. That's push-ups. Oh, dang it. Wasn't there a Naruto episode about that where he actually got summoned by the frogs instead of him summoning the frogs? He just ended up in like their little house. I always thought that would be kind of funny. I'm also a big fan of familiars being kind of existing outside of the world. So if you're kind of a dick to your familiar, it remembers. It remembers, and it will treat you poorly in the future. So there's a lot of different ways to do with that. Yeah, if your friend calls you it has to help. Yeah, physically has to. Physically has to. But it doesn't mean it can't do it poorly. I think, once again, Dresden, great books. New one just came out, actually. I have to read that. They do a lot of really cool stuff with the Fae because a lot of it is built around the old additive? That's not right. Can't remember the word. Adage, thank you. That you have to follow the intent of the rule, or the law of words. Word law. I can't talk right now. I'm done with this. You have to follow the word of law, not the intent. So, depending on what you say, they can take things very literally. As long as they do what you said, it doesn't matter if it actually accomplishes what you wanted to accomplish. And exactly, yeah. I love that kind of stuff. So if people are really, really douchey to their summons, I make them get snippy, and I think it's great. Yeah. You alright, Skip Cat? I got a cat horking up a hairball. You good? Okay. Yeah, that's a little weird. What is a hulking hag? Summon hag. Oh, weird. Yep. I have the monster manual. Why can't I find this? D&D Beyond. Hashtag please sponsor me. Oh, I would make it definitely attack you if you lost control of it. Like, especially if you're yeah. Whenever people control demons and fae, because there are spells that do that, and I think that's totally legit. I would definitely let you do this. But when you do lose control of those things, like these are intelligent creatures, and it's just like, oh, you don't have control over me now. This is gonna be fun. It's like, oh crap. Like that's the danger of those spells, and I dig it. I really like that idea. Getting something super powerful at a cost. Yep, and that's with elementals. See, I would do the opposite with elementals. I think if you lost control of an elemental, I don't necessarily think they are hyper intelligent, and so they might just be pissed off that they're like, "Why am I here?" and start going crazy. And it really just depends on what you're summoning. And I think that's, once again, a lot of people just don't want to deal with that. They don't want to have to deal with it, and they just say, "No summoning. I don't like it. It's out." That's their game, their choice. A shepherd druid conjures the same animal whenever he chooses the animal, so he has names for snakes and wolves. And if they did combat, that makes them with food. What? If they did in combat. I'm assuming it's supposed to say if they did well in combat, he makes them food or petting them. That's really cool. And that's a great way to do it, because then you're actually like creating a rapport with the summoned creatures. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Go ahead. Continue going with that thought. Yeah, I feel like yeah, I would definitely say you could do that, but I think I agree with Dippy that regardless of what happens in the outcome, you summoned a hag, you're boned. like now be gone. It's like, and they're just doing that like eye thing where they're just like pointing at you, like I see you, you stupid son of a bitch. Like I'm coming back. And then all of a sudden, like the next morning, you wake up and you have like badger fur growing out of your ears, and you're just like, what's happening? If you're lucky, yeah. Like doing that is like inciting a big bad evil person to your campaign. But if that's what you need, I mean, like I'm gonna summon it, once again, Dresden books. Just trying to figure out ways to convince fey creatures to do things for you, or making deals that you think you might be able to outdo them with. Like that's fun. That's a challenge. Like go for it. And it might even be like you're summoning the spell. Great, you've controlled them, and they're going to spend the entire time just resisting you unless you do something. It's like, okay, I've summoned you. And it's like, this is not part of the deal. You brought me here. You want me to do something. We're gonna bargain. Yep, that's also an option. I cannot find this hulking hang. Conjure Fey. Let's just look at this. Green hag. I cannot find this creature. I want to see what the hell I'm looking at. Like, can anybody find me this hulking? Yeah, because I see hags here that are level 3, green hags. I have all those guys. Volo. I mean, so once again, it's just a matter of flavor, like what you're doing, and summoning creatures, burning like a level 5 spell to try to one shot something. I have no problem with that, regardless of how you do it. Like that's just how that works.
I mean, yeah, I can't, I honestly can't find this creature, and it's driving me crazy. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah, that's an Annis hag. Gotcha. So it's a large, chaotic, evil creature. 75 hit points, 21 strength. This I have no problem with this at all. This is a good creature to summon. This thing would just mess you up, though. Oh, 3 times per day it can disguise itself as a medium-sized humanoid. That thing would just, like, find you and just destroy your brain. I love it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, when the Annis feels especially cruel, she disguises herself as a kindly looking elderly woman, approaches a child in a remote place, and gives them an iron token that they can use. Oh no, it's terrible. Yep. One target. Six. 18. Each got one target. Chaotic evil. This thing's pretty good. I like this creature. This is a good creature. Yeah. It's like 35 damage per turn. So, I don't know how Straw didn't just destroy it instantly, but whatever. This is actually weaker than Mimsy, which is Kevin the Necromancer's flesh golem. So I'm not super worried about this. But I dig it. I dig it. It's a cool spell. Lame. But yeah, I dig it. Summoning Fae. Dangerous the things to do, but definitely doable. My first character is basically Teddy Roosevelt with a Minotaur, but he mostly wears a Rose Red suit. Interesting. Does he? It says as a Minotaur. That's a good point, though. Yeah. I think it would be pretty funny seeing Teddy Roosevelt riding a Minotaur. That would be pretty crazy. Or Minotaur. Teddy Roosevelt just running across. Ah, go! Nope. And he's gone. The Discord just exploded. The hag got him. Not intentionally. Like, you were just talking and then you just disappeared. So. Sure.
Sounds like a pretty good D&D moment. I think it's fun. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. That's what I think. That's what D&D is all about. Trying to find those really cool things. I would, as a DM, definitely make that part of the storyline after that, because I think that's a fun way to do it. I think casting spells, especially high level spells, I don't want to say should have ramifications, but like they should be a unique thing that happens. Yeah. They affect the world. I think maybe that's a good way to say it, because you could say consequences. I think Inferno said consequences. Yeah, but they don't have to be bad. Exactly. Yeah, they don't have to be bad consequences. But I think they definitely should always have some sort of consequence. So summoning a hag, you got a hag in the world now that's been summoned once by this random kobold, and it's just like versus some things like shifting earth, like pillars of earth should always be there forever, like until people move them, or dropping meteorites on things should be fairly bad. My cabbage card, my cabbages, super good. Tigers. Yeah. Every time Ford summons the Balrog, it's not a Balrog, whatever the hell he summons. I like to think that was it a Balrog? I think the Balrogs have the whip though. Bulgura. I like to think that the Bulgura one is enslaved to him via Ukatoa. So the Balrog does have to do his bidding, but that doesn't mean he's not scheming in the background, waiting for his opportunity to like, yes, I fulfilled my purpose. Smash! Yeah, and so I think I like doing that kind of stuff. Like when people cast those kind of spells, every time they do it, I take note. It's like, okay, this is the fourth time they've done this. This thing's getting pissed. Like it doesn't like that it has to do it, and so it just becomes more and more dangerous every time. I think the wish spell is kind of the only one that really takes that into account. I don't even know if that's actually in the book or if it's just homebrewed, where you have a chance to lose the ability to cast the wish spell. Is that in the spell? Because I mean, there are so many items, especially in Pathfinder, that just like, oh, this comes with one wish. That it doesn't have that, but I think 5th edition does have it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And so I think that's a cool idea. It's like it becomes this ongoing thing. And so there have been people that like, oh, I have this spell that I can just every day I can turn things into diamonds and I make 5,000 gold a day. It's like, yeah, do that. Like that's totally legit. If you want to burn a spell every day doing that, that's how powerful you are. Like that's not overpowered. That's how powerful your character is. And we need to be aware of that. Like that's how world-changing high-level players are. Yeah, and so it's great. I have one character that has a magical horse that makes him rich. I won't explain that because I like it and I won't explain it, but it's good. And at first it's like, this seems really powerful, and then 10 levels later it's like, oh, it's a chore. I have to do this every day. So it changes how the game is played. I love it. Interesting. That's actually really interesting. I want to look at that spell now. The summon Fey creature, is that what it's called? Conjure Fey? That's such a good spell. Because I want to see the reading on it. You summon a Fey creature, challenge rating 6 or lower, or a Fey spirit that takes the form of a beast, challenge rating 6 or lower, and appears in unoccupied space. The Fey creature disappears when you drop 0 hit points. This area is friendly to you and your companions for the duration. Roll initiative for the creature. It obeys any verbal commands that you issue to it,
No action required by you, as long as they don't violate its alignment. If you don't issue any command, it defends itself from a hostile creature, but otherwise takes no actions. If the concentration is broken, instead of lose control of the fake creature, becomes hostile towards you and your companions. That is so good. Okay. Can't be dismissed, and it disappears 1 hour after you summon it. The DM has the fake creature statistics. Bullcrap. Bullcrap, D&D Beyond. Bring your own statistics, players. When you cast a spell during the spell slot of 7 or higher, the challenge rating increases by 1. Yeah, so the way I read this is you summon the creature and it's friendly to you. But I would definitely, like with Fae specifically, I would make them friendly. Yeah. It says it obeys any verbal command that you issue it, which is, once again, like really weird. Yeah. Ooh. Such a good spell. Drops. Well, I bet your character would be just as bananas crazy. Like, just as powerful. It should be. This is a level 6 spell. Yeah, this is like I said, world changing. I would totally be on board for summoning 20 like tiny fairies out of the forest, just like, come to me, Tyrannosauruses, go. I think that's great. A level 6 spell that turns everybody into giant dinosaurs. I love it. Like that's D&D in a nutshell for me. I think that's great. Oh yeah. Now here's the real question: can you summon a level 6, level 6 Furbolg? Can you just pull players that are Furbolgs out of the ether? Oh no, he fell down a pit. I think it's funny. I love that kind of stuff. All right, I think we were reaching the end of our discussion today. I think it was pretty good. We had some good fun times. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I had a lot of people in the YouTube chat today, which I very much appreciate. Summon a level 7 level 7 Furby would be pretty. I thought that said rugby. That would be pretty funny. Is rugby a fake creature? We don't know. Also, I think it would be really funny to make a summon goblinoid spell. I don't know how that would work. Maybe you have to be a hobgoblin druid to change the wording from conjure fey to conjure hobgoblin, or conjure goblinoid. Just summon 20 goblins out of the ether would be great. A horn of goblinkin. That sounds really cool. Maybe I'll make a card out of that if you don't mind me doing that. I only got to read that for half a second, Jonas. I missed it. I'm sorry. The playable satyr race counts as a fae, by the way. Ooh, Magic the Gathering, you've boned us again. Just summon a whole bunch of satyr. It's like, I want to summon 20 fireball satyrs that only know one spell, fireball. Ugh, shenanigans. All right, anyways. Stop trying to break the game. Play a crappy character. They're fun. Thanks for hanging out today, everybody. Jonas did some good art today. I think I got some good art going. This commission will probably take me another few days. I might work on it on Wednesday. I might finish it tomorrow because I have the days off. So tomorrow and Wednesday will both be morning streams, and then Thursday, Friday will be night streams again. That'll be 4 o'clock-ish. We were talking about doing a how to draw or a classroom type setting. So for that, and what I would like you to do, and I will post this probably on Instagram as well as the YouTube community page. If you have a character you would like to draw or see drawn, or you have a really cool art style that you want to see our versions of, what I would like to do is maybe we'll do this on Wednesday instead of the viewer submission. I will pick one of those and I will try to get everybody that's invited to draw it in their own style, and we can talk about how and why we draw.
And it might be something that I actually work with the format. I'll talk to some people about this, but we might do it Drawfee style, where we let one person draw and we talk about why we're drawing it that way. But we all use the same reference. I think it's going to be the key point. So if you have something cool or you have a character idea, maybe you have like a quick sketch of your character, post that on the Instagram or in the Discord or, I don't know, on Facebook, whatever. Just send me a link, send me a picture, and we'll go from there, and we'll try to figure that out. We might do that Wednesday, might do that Thursday. Might not do it at all. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But that's something I'd like to try. I'm going to be working on videos for the rest of the week. Got a few more commission things to deal with. And that's it. So we'll see you again tomorrow for some more fun time. And stay safe. Be happy. Be healthy. Keep your dice on the table. And don't piss off those fake creatures. Have a wonderful day.